Millions of warriors stand in silence on the plains of Kurukshetra. Thousands of chariots are lined up and weapons are drawn as the ancient Vedic world waits for the signal that will ignite a massive civil war. But miles away from the tension of the front lines, the story begins in a quiet palace. King Dhritarashtra, my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight. What did they do? From a military standpoint, the question is redundant. Both armies have spent months preparing for this moment and are now face to face on the field. To ask what did they do suggests the king is looking for something other than a tactical update. This request reveals the king's internal state. Despite orchestrating the conflict, he is preoccupied with an unspoken paranoia about whether his sons can actually succeed. To understand the king's concern, we have to examine the specific Sanskrit terminology he uses to describe the opposing forces. He refers to his own faction as Mamakah, meaning my party or my sons. He then categorizes the opposition separately as Pandava, the sons of his deceased brother Pandu. This is a significant distinction because both sides belong to the same royal family, the Kurus. By using these specific words, the king is verbally disowning his nephews and claiming the family heritage exclusively for his own children. His secretary, Sanjaya, listens to this with a unique perspective. Sanjaya has been granted visionary powers that allow him to see the distant battlefield with total clarity, effectively acting as an objective observer of the king's subjective bias. This mental separation of his family reveals a psychological fracture that has already divided the empire's unity long before the first arrow is fired. The king is also fixated on the specific geography of the battlefield. He uses the term Dharmakshetra to describe the location, identifying it as a place of pilgrimage and religious weight. Ancient texts identify Kurukshetra as a site of worship even for celestial beings. It is a landscape historically reserved for sacred rituals rather than warfare. The king fears that the holy nature of this landscape will influence the outcome of the battle. He knows the Pandavas are naturally virtuous, and he suspects the ground itself will favor their cause. This fear suggests the king views the land as a moral filter. By bringing his sons to a place of pilgrimage, he worries that the spiritual influence of the field will strip away his army's numerical advantage. This fear is compounded by the presence of Sri Krishna, who is standing on the field as the supporter of the Pandavas. To explain the outcome, the text's commentary uses an agricultural metaphor, comparing the battlefield to a paddy field. In a paddy field, unwanted weeds are removed so the crop can grow. The text maps the king's sons to these weeds, obstacles to the religious field. The Pandavas are the intended crop. The battle clears the field so the moral path can flourish. The opening of the Bhagwat Gita suggests that political power and massive armies are secondary to the underlying justice of a situation. The king's anxiety stems from realizing that, on sacred ground, weeds are always eventually removed.